Hello everyone, my name is STG Seldra, and today we're going to be talking about our Shaman deck from yesterday. We're going to open with this game that I happened to join while we're going, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Shaman deck, where it's going to go, and what to do with any cards that you may get. Okay, so in this opening hand, it's a good opening hand. I kept it. It has a good 1-2-3 curve. And if he plays really aggressive, I'll have Fork Lightning to deal with his aggression. I'll have Windfury to... Oh, wow, I just drew the perfect card. So now, no matter what he plays, I'm going to be able to Fork Lightning it. If he doesn't play anything, I'll be able to play Feral Spirits just to protect that Kobald Geomancer. And playtesting this deck, I played some more games from yesterday. This deck is actually very, very strong. And so this episode is going to really be about taking this deck next level, starting to invest some dust into it, starting to figure out what rares you want to be in this deck. Okay, so the reason that we were able to just go ahead and play the wolves there instead of doing anything else is now the wolves are going to be protecting the Kobald Geomancer, and with the Kobald Geomancer protected, I have the ability to remove just about anything that he plays. Anyway, this deck is very, very consistent. It's very strong. It can deal with a lot. Its late game is pretty meh, and its early game is pretty strong still because it's a Shaman. And so we're going to talk about some of the paths that you have as a player, namely the control variant path, the aggro variant path, and then we're going to stay on this rounded variant path. So this is the rounded variant that we're running here. This is the deck we built yesterday, the basic Shaman deck. The most important thing that we're going to be covering today is what to build with your dust. Because I had a friend, he said he liked the video yesterday, but he wasn't sure where to go. And I don't like that. So we're going to be talking about some of the options that you have. And now, if I remember yesterday, our goal was we only wanted one rare, and the only rare we had in the entire deck was these Feral Spirits. We had 2 of them. Everything else was common or basic.
I wonder.
So we're just going to continue to go through this game. We're swinging around him that he doesn't have enough of a board presence. We're going to basically rush him down, for lack of a better word. Next turn we'll be able to play Fire Elemental and Lightning Bolt whatever he plays. If he plays something that needs a lot of attention, I can just Hex it and then kill it with a Searing Totem. But I'm in a really strong position to just sort of take this guy out.
So many possibilities.
Okay, so he decided to trade and get my minions down to 1 health each, and then drain life. Okay, yeah, he's struggling to get my my minions under control, but that's okay because we're gonna play Fire Elemental this turn. If he doesn't kill it, we'll actually kill him next turn. Sitting out. He's showing. I'm showing. What am I showing? 9 damage, but I also have 2 Windfury cards in my hand, so there you go. He's got to be really wary about basically anything that I play. So we'll play the Unbound Elemental, and we're actually going to give Windfury to our Kobald Geomancer. Like I said, we're just going to try and keep the pressure on. We can hit him for 3 next turn with Lightning Bolt, so we really only have to be able to do 5 damage next turn. The Lightning Bolt has Overload, so... Ooh, he just life tapped. Well played.
Well played.
And It's just another example of this deck just being able to deal. It was very aggressive here, but it's able to just deal with anything. Most of the decks that you're going to run into. This is a very strong, very simple deck. First thing we're going to do is why don't we take a look at the deck list itself. We're going to look at our basic Shaman. This is the same basic Shaman we were running yesterday. Only difference is that I'm running 2 Windspeakers instead of a Gelbin, because it's not going to be fair to expect everyone to have a Gelbin. We're going to talk a little bit about where to go with this deck. The great thing about this deck is that you can put a lot of different cards in it, and it'll still retain its core functionality. Now, as a player, you got to ask yourself, do you want to be sort of a jack of all trades, but really master of none? Which is sort of what this deck does, because it can deal with early game, it can deal with late game, but if a deck is exceptionally good at either rushing or late game, you're going to lose to it. But it is very efficient. You saw that Warlock, I was able to basically burst him down with a deck that's not meant to rush someone. So it's efficient in that area, but it has a lot of cards that could be better. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about the control variant. Now, if you wanted to run this deck as more of a control deck, there's a few things that you would do. You would get rid of your cards like Windfury and Stormforged Axe, or one of them, and your Rockbiter. I'm a big advocate of keeping one in the deck because it's really good at paying off low health minions. But anyway, you're going to want to keep at least one of them in the deck. And so the deck we're going to actually look at is my competitive deck. I call it Force Control, and it is a control variant. It's very expensive. It uses, Ysera and Alakir and Earth Elemental. But this is just an example of, I've just put cards in here that I feel that work together well. I felt like the 2 Earth Elementals wasn't good, so I took it down to 1. I felt like Alakir would do well with the Rockbiter Weapon, so I took out some cards and put in Rockbiter and Alakir. Figured, hey, since I'm running Rockbiter, I should run Doomhammer. And so this is just sort of an amalgamation of just me playing and iterating through different deck lists. Let's talk specifically about the basic Shaman deck. If you wanted to upgrade this basic Shaman deck, the first thing that you would want to do is remove probably the Corehound, the Spellbreaker, and both the Reckless Rocketeers, and one of the Stormforged Axes, because we don't need 2 of them. And again, this is the more advanced, so this is going to be all rares that we're putting back in. But we put in a Ravenholdt Assassin. We would put in an Azure Drake or 2. And we put in a Lightning Storm. And the last thing we'd put in is a Defender of Argus. And this deck is going to play pretty much the exact same way, except every card I took out, I replaced it with a better card. And a gold card, if you'll notice. It still has the Windfuries. It still is going to play pretty aggressive. If they can't deal with any of your minions, you're really going to punish them for it. But it's still that's just one of the possible build paths. The other build path is that you go ahead and go the control route. And I started on this a little bit earlier and sort of got sidetracked. The control route is going to have you taking out some of your aggression. You're going to take out your Windfuries, you're going to take out your Windspeakers, you're going to take out your Reckless Rocketeers and your Corehound and your Bloodlust, and it's just going to be very controlly. You're going to be able to not lose to somebody having minions at you. The downside is that your late game is going to suffer, right? And then the other way is a little bit different as well. If you play the Aggro Variant, your early game becomes really unsteady because you're trying to deal damage and control, because that's how Shamans work, is they have that really strong early game with, their really cheap spells, right? And so if you're looking at the Aggro Variant, you'll get rid of things like your Kobald Geomancer, your Spellbreaker, You'll want to replace the Reckless Rocketeers, but one of the things you'll get rid of that a lot of Shamans like to run are these Forked Lightnings. The Forked Lightnings are great because are a problem in aggro decks because they cost 3, and that really can just stifle your aggression. So I gotta add the Reckless Rocketeers back in. Okay, so let's take a look at the control variant that I've put together here, and we'll play a game with it. Just like I said, we took out our Rockbiters, we took out one of our Stormforged Axes, took out our Reckless Rocketeers, and we took out a Corehound and a Bloodlust. But what we did is we added a second Kobald Geomancer, we added in Lava Burst, we added in Lightning Storm, we added in Manatide Totem, we added in and the Ogre Magi, and the Azure Drake. So now we've got a lot more spell damage and a really, really strong turn 3. If you notice, our turn 3 is the majority. At turn 3, we're going to be able to do something scary. What? We don't have any idea. So let's go ahead and play a game, and my draw, hopefully the draws work out so that I'm not just drawing dry all the time. The problems that I could potentially run into with this deck is that it's not very consistent. It doesn't have a very strong late game. I would much prefer the cheaper and basic Shaman deck, but some people like the ability to control over the, not being excelling at either. Okay, so we're going to throw away the Azure Drake and the Fire Elemental because we really want to try and start with a Manatide Totem in our hand. This will be fine. We've got the Lava Burst in our hand, so we still have the ability to remove one of his big minions, maybe. Druids are known for their 4/6 chargers, so we'll put our Totem into play. He'll probably kill it with his hero power. We'll just have to put another one into play next. And if he doesn't kill it, we'll play our Flame Tongue and swing, force him to react. He's going to coin into play a Demolisher. Okay. Now we gotta decide, is the Demolisher scary enough that we're gonna take care of it, or what are we gonna do with that? Hopefully the Demolisher doesn't hit my Flame Tongue Totem, because that means that he can just take out the Flame Tongue Totem, and that's not really what we wanted at all. And we want him to be demolishing, and that's with the Demolisher at this point, so that he has to waste mana or attacks, and putting the damage into our counter right now. We're not in a very good place. He's got a really big hand and has control of the board right now. And mind you, I could get control of the board. It would just cost me a Lava Burst and Flame Tongue Totem. Oh my! So we're going to silence this minion. Then we're going to play a Totem. Like that. Luckily we got a healing stream. That's kind of lucky actually, because that means that he was able to heal. But that's okay. He used a swipe there, and that's a pretty big bit of removal. We'll play our first Fire Elemental and nuke his Demolisher. Maybe we might draw a Starfire to remove the Fire Elemental, but either way, we're gonna put a little bit of pressure on him. Now, you gotta remember, since this is a control deck, Fire Elemental is a really big part of our control kit. So if we have both of them in our hand, we've got a really strong hand compared to what we normally have. However, it also means that if he's able to deal with both of them, we're gonna be in a lot of trouble. So we'll see what he does. Another thing I want to say is I should be dropping totems every turn that I can, so that I can get as much spell damage as possible. Just going to swipe again with 5. There we go. Unfortunate, but what ended up happening. And we'll just play our second Fire Elemental and take out his Kobald Geomancer. So he's used both of his swipes. He could still have Starfalls in his hand, so we don't want to, underestimate him. But just the Lava Burst is 10 damage in our hand. With any spell power out, that goes up considerably.
What to do?
Okay, so we got our Manatide Totem out, and we got another Totem out. For every Totem we have out, that means that there's a better chance to get the Totem than we want. We want a Spell Power Totem with this control variant. The Spell Power Totem lets us really make use of the cards in our hand.
Where shall I strike?
Okay, so this turn we're actually going to use a Kobald Geomancer into Lava Burst. And actually, we can play the Unbound Elemental so that it can start getting big. We'll Lava Burst that and then hit him for 6. Okay, so we're really looking like we've got board position, and since he's already used both of his swipes, he could have a Starfall, but Starfall isn't particularly scary to us because it's only going to take out our Kobald Geomancer and our Healing Totem. So he's used a lot of the Druid's AoE clear.
I must safeguard the land.
Let's see what we get. Okay, we got our Spell Power Totem, and that's good. Okay, so now we can hit him for 7. In fact, you know what we're going to? We'll save it, actually. If he ends up killing all my minions, then my bad, but I don't think that he will, so everything will be okay. Here comes the Starfall for 3. And like I said, he took out all my minions. My bad. So what can I swing for? Oh, I can just kill him. Yay, top deck. And you can see, like, in my hand, I had the ability to deal with anything he could have played with the Earth Shock, the Board Clear, the Fork Lightning. So that was him, both of us playing slower decks, and I was able to deal with it. Actually, no, we won't play another control deck. The control deck ended up working out just fine. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the aggro variant. So our basic deck, to go aggro with it, we'd want to get rid of, like I said, the Kobald Geomancer, the Spellbreaker, probably the Reckless Rocketeers, because they could just be replaced. If you're going to change up your main strategy, you want to just get better cards. So for the aggro variant, what we did is we added in a Ravenholdt Assassin, the Defender of Argus, the Dark Iron Dwarves, and the Acidic Swamp Ooze, and the Ancestral Spirit. Okay, so Ancestral Spirit's going to allow us to have basically not let the Dark Iron Dwarf or one of our bigger minions die. So it'll come back to the battlefield, and if you can combine it with Death Rattle, like from a Harvest Golem, especially a Harvest Golem, it's super frustrating. Or if I get in my crafting, if you have a Sylvanas or a Cairn, I've heard really, really good things about combining Sylvanas and Cairn with Ancestral Spirit. But we're not going to do it here because I don't own them. I could craft them, but expecting you to own a very specific legendary is a little bit unfair on my part. So we're going to go take a this aggro deck into play, and it's going to play very similar to the rest of Shaman decks, because like I said, our base of our Shaman deck is that early game 1 to 2 drop control, just being able to remove what he has. With this aggro Shaman, we're hoping that we can get ahead of his curve. So we start with the defender in our hand, and that'll be fine. We've got the ability to remove one of his minions with Hex, to nuke one of his minions out with Lightning Bolt. We've got multiple buff cards, so hopefully turn 2 we'll be able to drop our Totem, and hopefully it's not just a 1/1 so we can't ping it out. Turn 3, hopefully again we'll be able to drop one of our Totems. If not, it's not that big of a deal. And since we got a Healing Stream Totem now, it's actually best case scenario, so that means he can't just ping the Healing Stream Totem down. There's our Wrath of Air Totem. Okay, so now if he plays a creature this turn, I'm going to be able to use Lightning Bolt to nuke it out of orbit, and then I'm going to be able to use Flame Tongue Totem and swing for 4. But I want to be careful because I'm playing a mage. Mages can really easily board sweep. They have a ridiculously lot of cards that can board sweep. So we're going to play our Flame Tongue Totem, right? We're going to swing. And we're going to play our Master Swordsmith. Now, the reason we swung first is so that we could get the extra 2 damage from the Wrath of Air Totem, and then have the Master Swordsmith be getting the effect of the Flame Tongue Totem. And now what we're going to do is we're going to be playing Defender of Arcus and giving Master Swordsmith and Wrath of Air Totem taunt. Oh, he's going to coin into Booty Bay Bodyguard. Booty Bay Bodyguard has 4 health, so I'm going to be able to just kill it with Lightning Bolt and continue swinging. So like I said, we'll give these 2 taunt.
My shield for Argon.
Kill with Lightning Bolt. Continue swinging. And we were able to do that because we got lucky and pulled a Wrath of Air Totem. So now he's looking at a lot of damage coming at his face. I'm going to be able to hex whatever he plays. Or in this case, I'm going to be able to use Stormforged Axe. What card is that? Maybe Cone of Cold he's trying to play? So he's trying to freeze something. That would have been the thing to... Actually, I probably would have frozen the Flame Tongue Totem, because now just my Defender of Argus is getting the benefit, but that's okay. His play is not mine. So we've only got 5 mana this turn, so what we're going to do is we're going to equip our Stormforged Axe, ping one of these little things, we'll play a Totem, that way we can get another Taunt Totem, looks like. We'll Earth Shock, since we've got the Wrath of Air Totem up, Earth Shocking that, and then we'll just keep swinging. Like I said, just keeping the aggression up is really important. He's about to get to turn 6, and he's got almost no health. He just got in range to Blizzard, so if he has a Blizzard, he's going to be able to really start slowing us down. Mages are really good at board clearing. And then next turn, he'll be able to play Flame Strike, actually. There we go. So he just played 2 different cards and was just completely board swept. But now you might be thinking, oh no, well you're ruined, right? Well, he just used 4 cards to board sweep as opposed to just, 2. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ping him for 3 and then hit him. And if he plays a minion with taunt or something, he pretty much has to get rid of the fire elemental. That's what it's come down to. If he doesn't, I win. There you go. He's got to get rid of the fire elemental. And so now he's going to have 1 health left. If I draw like a Lightning Bolt, he loses. So we're going to play this, and swing. He's now down to 1 health. And we're going to return that to the battlefield if it dies, because that's what we want. So now he's got to kill this twice. He might be able to do it, but he probably won't. He just played a taunt minion.
I'm ready.
Let's game. Because I'm going to hex that taunt minion. Give this guy Windfury. And swing. There you go. And again, we were just playing very aggressive. If he would have been able to hold out very much longer, notice our hand is empty. We were not able to deal with many more creatures. We were forcing him to try and deal with our creatures. If he would have been playing an aggro deck, I don't know how this would have turned out. And then, so this is just going to sort of summarize what we've done today. Is we've just sort of looked at what Shaman decks we have. We've got this basic Shaman deck. This is our core. If you want to make it better, look for cards like I said, the Ravenholdt Assassin to replace the Corehound, the Azure Drakes to replace Reckless Rocketeer, get a Lightning Storm, some Lava Burst, find some room in here. What I did is I basically built a control deck, but to make its end game stronger, I took out some of the weaker control end game cards, and I started using Fire Elemental started using Alakir and Ysera. And just like I said yesterday, I've got a 30-second little video of why Alakir and Ysera work together really well. It's a 40-second video of me just killing somebody using Alakir with a Nightmare from Ysera. It's pretty legit. That pretty much is everything. Some cards I would avoid. Dust Devil. I will never run Dust Devil in a deck that I play with. If you play it early, you lose an entire turn basically, and if you play it late, it's a 3-1 that they just have to ping once. You have to be really careful about overloads with these bigger cards, because like when I have an Alakir in my hand, I can't play an overload card on turn 7. If you look at my deck, that leaves me with like Hex and Earth Shock for removal. And so you got to really, really be watching yourself. To make this deck better, some of the things that I'm considering going with a Leroy. I want to try and find a way to get my Leroy in here. I'm considering crafting some of the legendaries I don't have, like Sylvanas and Bane, so that I can use, and Cairn, so that I can use Ancestral Spirit. But right now, this deck is performing really well. It has about a 75 to 80% win chance. It's got me to rank 14 with very few losses. Started losing a few recently, but it's need to put more time on it. I think in the next video, we're just going to completely focus on the logical end games of the Shamans. So the control variant and the aggro variant. Sort of one, we're at the point that we can just sort of make legendaries left and right, what they look like. I've been showing off a lot of my force control, so we're going to have to, it's going to really revolve around this force control deck, and the link for this deck will be in the description. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. This has been another episode of Thinking Out Loud with Saldra.